You know, when I see things like this, I find it to be funny. Paul George has been playing really good lately. And a lot of people on the NBA analysts, NBA Jump, even First Take, Undisputed, all of them sit there and anoint this guy and put him up here like he's an MVP caliber type player. And what do I say all the time about Paul George? Paul George is a really good player, but he's only really ever going to be a number two. He's never going to be a better player than Kawhi Leonard. He's never going to be a better player than LeBron. He's never going to be a better player than AD. He's never going to be a better player than probably Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, Harden, Kyrie, none of them. It's games like these that remind you who Paul George really is. You come out here, you score 9 points against the Pelicans. I mean, a team like this with no Kawhi Leonard around, you should at least score maybe 25. So I'd say maybe, if you had an off night, give me 19 or 20. 9 points. This is the reason why nobody trusts Paul George. This is the reason why he's probably going to do the same thing in the playoffs. I mean, it's like time after time after time. When you watch Paul George, you see things like this, and it makes you wonder, like, how good of a player is he really? Is he really built like that? Is he really a good player? Is he really like what he thinks he is? Because if you ask Paul George, he thinks he's an alpha type player. And this is the reason why I'm, at times I worry about the Clippers, even this year, even though they've been playing really good this year. But, people don't realize how Kawhi Leonard makes everybody else's life so much easier. Paul George has 30-point games and looks really good when the offense is really flowing and everything. But a lot of times that's because Kawhi Leonard's there. And Paul George can put up great numbers. But when you see him have games like these, this is who we are reminded of when we think of playoff P. This is who we're reminded of when we think of way off P. And it's like, I know it's one game. I'm not going to overreact over one game. But when you look at games like this, it's like, this is the Paul George we see in the playoffs. I mean, without Kawhi Leonard around, you gotta show up against a team like the Pelicans. I mean, you do. I mean, you have more to prove than Kawhi Leonard does. And I don't care how much the media tries to fabricate it and all this stuff. Paul George has way more to prove than Kawhi Leonard does. Kawhi Leonard is a 2-time champion. Paul George hasn't won anything. Not an MVP, not a championship, not anything. So you have to really, really be cognizant of things like this. And these are the games you got to watch and pay attention to. Is he really going to show up in the clutch when Kawhi and the rest of the Clippers really need him to? If they're playing a team like the Lakers? If they're playing a team like maybe even the Nuggets again? Well, I guess I should exclude them since they don't have Jamal Murray. But is he going to show up in the clutch against a team like the Suns? Is he going to turn to playoff P again? Is he going to do this all over again? And I really hope not. I really hope he resurrects himself. I hope this is really just one game. Hope this is really just one incident, one fluke. I really do. Because, Kawhi Leonard's looking at this game. And hopefully Kawhi Leonard's not looking at this game thinking, I hope he's not thinking to himself like, damn, I can't wait to go play with Jimmy next year. Or I can't wait to go play with Steph in Golden State next year. Or wherever hell he decides to be. Or maybe he might even decide to come back to LA. Who knows? But seeing games like this, guarantee Kawhi Leonard thinks twice. And he should. Now this game itself, I mean, honestly, the Pelicans were up. When I looked in the fourth quarter specifically, and those are the quarters, the second half is the halves you always look at the most. That's when you pay attention the most to basketball for more reasons than not. I mean, the Pelicans, it seemed like they had control of this game from the second half on, or at least from late third quarter going into the fourth. At one time, I think the score was 83-98, and Paul George had 9 points then. The leading scorer for the Clippers was Terrence Mann. Now, Zion ends up with 23 points, scoring pretty good, playing a pretty good game. And I think they had like 5 or 6 players on double figures on the Pelicans. And I know the Pelicans beat them earlier this season by a pretty good margin. But at the same time, Paul George did play better. But Kawhi Leonard was around. And it's like, I'm just not sure about playoff P. And I don't think nobody else should be either. But we'll see how it goes. Good game for the Pelicans. Shout out to them. They won the game. Big win for them. Boost their confidence. Beat this team twice in the last month, I believe. So, like I said, big shout out to them. Big shout out to Zion, Lonzo. They doing their thing over there, as much as they can. They're not really a great team, but I mean, when you get wins like this, it really boosts your confidence and make you think you can win out the rest of the season and make a little bit of a run. So my hats go off to them. But I think the Clippers do have to wink their eye at this one and wonder, is this the type of playoff P or Paul George going to show up in the playoffs? But leave in the comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. If you don't like my take, I hope you do. If you have a different view, please leave any comments in the comment section. I want to hear what you have to say. This is my take on the game and how it went, and pretty much how playoff P played. But hey, next time.